Hi everyone. Today, I alongside with Utkarsh Nanda and Jhansi are going to present on our topic droughts. So, what a drought is? So, drought is a phenomena that occurs when a region experiences lack of water supply, which can be associated to the surface or groundwater supply. Now, to understand this, we need to understand some terms like index of wetness. Index of wetness is the percentage of rainfall in a given area at a given place upon the average annual rainfall of that place. Now, through this, we can calculate the rainfall deficiency, which would be 100 minus index of wetness. Now we will look upon why this drought occurs. Now, the first reason would be the lower rainfall than estimated the average rainfall consistently. And then the other would be the man-made reasons like deforestation that would lead to desertification and increased evaporation. Now, there are other reasons like high temperature. The more the temperature would be, the more the probability of the drought would be. And also, if a region is situated in a downstream, then any bad thing that would occur in the upstream would highly affect the water supply in the downstream region. Now we will look upon what are all the types of the droughts. So we classify it into three types. First, meteorological drought. Second, hydrological drought. And third would be agricultural drought. So first we'll look upon what is meteorological drought. So it occurs when the current precipitation decreases more than 25% as compared to average precipitation. In monsoon-driven countries like India, its occurrence depend on onset, break, and withdrawal of the monsoon. Now, persistent meteorological drought would result into hydrological and agricultural drought over a long period of time. Now, a region can be categorized into drought-prone region or chronologically drought-prone region according to the probability of occurrence of the drought. If the drought occurrence is 0.2 to 0.4 in the probability, then we tell that the drought region is called drought-prone region. But if the probability is greater than 0.4, then we name it at chronologically drought-prone region. Now, if the seasonal efficiency in rainfall is if it is between 25 to 50%, then we term it as the moderate drought. And if the seasonal efficiency in rainfall is more than 75%, then we consider it as a severe drought. Now we will look upon the another type of drought, that is agricultural drought. So it happens when the atmospheric moisture decreases to the extent that there is an deficiency in the soil moisture. It can occur due to acute deficiency of rainfall and the soil moisture. Now, to estimate this, we define an index called aridity index. So, aridity index is given by the formula that potential evapotranspiration minus actual evapotranspiration upon potential evapotranspiration into 100. Here, actual evapotranspiration is the in situ field evapotranspiration of a certain region, whereas potential evapotranspiration is the evapotranspiration that would occur when there is optimum amount of water supply is there. And it can be calculated by the formulas that we learn in our hydrology class, that is Penman's equation and other energy budget equations. So if a region is categorized as arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid according to the aridity index, as you can see in the table side. Now, the another type of drought is hydrological drought. So it occurs when the water level in the reservoirs, rivers, lakes, and other sources falls below the average value. Now, it could be caused by low level of precipitation, geographical factors, and human errors like non-optimal allocation of water through these resources. Now, factors considered for understanding that this type of drought are magnitude, duration, frequency, and the severity of the deficiency of the rainfall. Now, these can be associated with the surface water droughts, that is, the decrease in the water level of rivers, lake, and other on-surface water bodies. And it can be also categorized as groundwater droughts, that is, decrease in water level of aquifer. So now we will look upon a solved question to solidify our understanding. So in this question, it is given that there is a rainfall of 80 centimeter in a year over a region, and we have to find what meteorological drought would occur in this region. So from the given equation, we can find the index of wetness as 80 upon 120 into 100, given that the average rainfall of that region is 120. So we can then calculate the rainfall deficiency as 33%. So by looking at this table, we say that 33.3% lie between 25 to 50%. Hence, the drought condition would be a moderate drought condition.
Let's discuss about drought analysis. Drought analysis involves complex interrelationship between climatological and meteorological data. Here, climatological and meteorological data includes data about rainfall, temperature, air density, pressure, wind speeds, etc. Operational definitions are formulated in terms of drought indices, which typically require quantification of normal and expected conditions within specified regions. Here, operation definitions means the ones which are already in use or under operation. So, in order to formulate these indices, we need data regarding normal and expected conditions within an area. Physically based models are effective because they give distinction with respect to region and time. Hydrological drought analysis is done through hydrological models like water balance models, evapotranspiration studies, groundwater and surface flow models. Here, water balance models typically describe the flow of water in and out of a system. So, using these hydrographs, we can get the data about the onset, duration and deficit volumes of droughts. Deficit volume means in terms of water, say with respect to normal conditions, how much volume is reduced. Now coming to drought indices. It is a single number that is useful for decision making by measuring different drought causative and drought responsive parameters and identify them and classify droughts accordingly. These parameters include meteorological, climatological and agricultural aspects, etc. Drought indices are used for drought warning and they assimilate thousands of bits of data about rainfall, snowpack, stream flow and other water supply indicators. As large historical datasets are required to study droughts. Drought indices varies among regions of different climatic conditions and these are useful for water supply planners to make a decision by consulting one or more than one indices because many uncertainties may be involved in each of the indices. Instead of choosing only one index, they take more than one index before taking decisions. And using drought indices, management of drought impacts and preparedness is possible, although their occurrence cannot be avoided because as they identify the drought as severe, moderate, etc. Based on these numbers, we can understand the characteristics of drought. Now let's discuss about the types of drought indices. There are many types of drought indices. In this discussion, we will look into two indices. First one is Palmer Drought Index, which is also called Palmer Drought Severity Index. It is the first comprehensive drought index started in US in 1960s. It is a long-term meteorological drought index that runs on a weekly or monthly basis. Palmer Index takes precipitation, evapotranspiration and runoff into consideration. Computation of this index incorporates a water balance model using historic records of monthly precipitation, potential evapotranspiration and simple two-layer moisture reservoir. So here the upper layer is assumed to contain 1 inch of available moisture at field capacity. So field capacity means it is the amount of soil moisture or water content held in the soil after excess water has drained away. Now coming to underlying layer, it has the available capacity that depends on soil characteristics of the site. And this two-layer concept is used considering that moisture cannot be removed from the lower layer until the top layer is dry, and runoff is assumed to occur when both layers reach their saturation capacity. In this index, potential values required are potential evapotranspiration, denoted by PE, potential loss, potential runoff, and potential recharge. Potential recharge is the amount of moisture required to bring soil to field capacity, and potential loss is the amount of moisture that could be lost from soil to evapotranspiration provided precipitation was zero. And finally, the potential runoff is the difference between precipitation and potential recharge. So, in this method, we use potential coefficients which can be calculated as the ratio of averages of actual and the potential values for every 12 months. And these values are used to compute the amount of precipitation required for CAFEC, which is climatically appropriate for existing conditions. Which means that the p hat, which is CAFEC precipitation, is calculated using alpha, beta, gamma and sigma, as p hat is equal to alpha into PE plus beta into PR plus gamma into PRO plus sigma into PL. Alpha, beta, gamma and sigma are calculated by taking ratios of actual values to the potential values, which means that the numerators of these coefficients ET bar, R bar, RO bar and L bar, these are the actual evapotranspiration, recharge, runoff and loss respectively, while the denominators are average of potential values. Here D, which is the difference between actual precipitation P and CAFEC precipitation P hat, is an indicator of water deficiency. And D is called moisture departure. And as D depends on potential values, same D will mean different things at different times as well as different locations. So to correct this, moisture departure D is weighed using K so that they can be compared among different areas and months. So the obtained value after weighing K with D is called Z, which is Palmer Moisture Anomaly Index. So the Moisture Anomaly Index or Z index can be used to show how wet or dry it was during a single month without regard to past precipitation trends. PDSI at time t is given by 0.897 times PDSI at time t-1 plus 1/3 into Z index at time t. And here 0.897 and 1/3 are called duration factor. PDSI of initial month in a dry or wet spell is equal to Zi by 3, where Zi is the Z index in that month. So when actual precipitation P is less than P hat, it is a drought condition, and here D and Z are negative, and hence the PDSI value is also negative. And as the magnitude of negative value increases, severity of drought also increases, and this can be seen in the table. Now coming to crop moisture index. It is usually calculated along with the Palmer drought index. It is short-term weekly index designed to reflect quickly changing moisture conditions of soil for agricultural purposes. This index is also developed by Palmer to access short-term crop water conditions. This index indicates the general conditions and not local variations caused by isolated rain, and its value can change rapidly from week to week. It is based on a concept of abnormal evapotranspiration deficit, computed as difference between potential evapotranspiration and moisture to find the deficit. In this index, input parameters are weekly precipitation, weekly mean temperature, and previous week's CMI value. CMI is calculated just like Palmer drought index, but instead of precipitation, we work with moisture contents of the soil. So if potential moisture demand is more than available supply, then CMI is negative, which means it is a drought condition. So let's discuss drought management. It involves development of short-term and long-term strategies to minimize the possible impact of calamity on life and economy. Short-term strategies focus on early warning, monitoring and assessment of droughts, while long-term strategies attempt drought mitigation by means of water conservation methods. A few common measures for betterment of drought-prone areas are creating storages to hold on to a larger amount of precipitation, groundwater management by rainwater harvesting technique, using sprinkler or drip irrigation methods, transferring water from areas of higher rainfall to areas of lower rainfall, promoting afforestation, etc. And here is an unsolved question.